Hello everyone, and welcome to the Miradore webinar on an overview of Android Enterprise. My name is Sean Brennan, and I'm a marketing specialist here at Miradore. And let's have a look at the agenda. First, our technical consultants and key account manager for Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, Mr. Andreas Handler, will run through a demonstration, and more about that shortly. And then we'll have a Q&A session with Andreas to answer all of your questions. So we encourage you to type your questions in the question box during the demonstration, and then some closing remarks. So a bit more about the demonstration. Andreas is going to run through an overview of Android Enterprise. He'll explain the setup process, the device enrollment, the configuration process, and app installation. This is based on the scenario of a company employee or freelancer wanting to use this private device for work purposes. And now we'll begin the demonstration. The floor is yours, Andreas.
Thanks, Sean, and hello out there. Today I want to show you Android for Enterprise, and today a very easy scenario where an employee wants to receive the company mail on his private device, or a freelancer that works in a customer project and have a company email account and wants to use his own device. So today we set up an email client on the device you can see on the right with the company mails, and this in the Android Workspace area. So first we go down to the infrastructure diagram and activate Android for Enterprise. All you need is a Google account. When you go to Managed Google Play Enterprise, you click the Enroll button and you are forwarded to Google. I want to use another account. I want to use this account. Then press the button Start Now, give it a name, agree and agree, finish, and now Google for Enterprise or Android for Work is now activated. What we can do now is add some apps to our Miradore site. We choose Applications, Add Application. We want to have Android applications from the Managed Google Play Store. And then we search for a mail client. I want to choose the Gmail app because it's configurable. Gmail. Perfect. Agree. And if there is an attachment in the mail client, like an PDF, I need the app to open it. So I choose the Adobe Reader. Click. Agree. So when we go back now to our Miradore site, we can see already the apps in here. And now we are going to configure the Gmail app to get emails from our mail server, in our case from Office 365. And we add an email address. This we take from the user account. I show you later. So it's the email address of the user. Next, I choose the mail server. For Office 365, it's Outlook.office365.com. add this to the configuration. This also requires SSL, and I also want to push the username to the app configuration from the user. I go here again to the user account and say username and add. Now I finish the configuration of this application, this mail client application. So the next step is to create a business policy, because I want to reuse this configuration for several different users. Oh, I created already one, so I delete it now and I create a new one. I want to have it applied to the group of the profile owner. Perfect. As a next, I don't want to have a configuration profile in this policy. I want to have these apps in here. I also want to have the logo in the company area of the phone, in the workspace. I also want to send it to the device, and I say now here a name for this business policy. We call it profile owner. So next, so create. So here you can see this business policy is called profile owner. It's just applied to devices with the tag profile owner. The applications Adobe Acrobat Reader and Gmail are deployed to the devices, and the file miradore.png I uploaded before. So let's have a look at the user. I created already a user. That's my private user profile. So I used here a private email address like outlook.com, and I also added here at the mail for exchange accounts my Miradore email address and username. So I want to show you now how the employee or the freelancer can use the self-enrollment. That's very easy. I created a company pin here before, and all I have to do now, if you take a look onto the device on the right side, I open the Chrome, I enter here the URL you can see on the screen, online.miradore.com/enroll. Say go. Okay, and here I can enter my private email address and the company pin. I will do this in a second because I have to add some very important point. If I want to have the enrolled for enterprise container enrolled, you have to add here a tag. This tag is AFW and add it here. This provides an automatically creation of the workspace on the device when the device is enrolled. So I enter here this email address, my private one. And now the company pin. you can see and generate in the infrastructure diagram. In this case it's 41330, and then I say continue. Okay, and then I get the message, create an email containing, and here is the email containing the enrollment credential. I open it now, and I see here the email with my enrollment credentials. I copy them now. I click enroll. Okay, I want to download the client from the App Store. I want to install it. When the client is installed, I open the client and I enter the credentials. The client asks for some permissions. So I enter here the credentials and the code provided. And now the device starts thinking and will appear soon here under the devices. The device you can see on the right is not this iPad. It's an Samsung Xcover 3, and here it is with Android 6.1. And because I added this tag AFW to the user, the device is asking for creating the work profile, as you can see here on the right. I click on it and they say OK, agree, setup, OK. And now the Android for Enterprise Workspace is created on the phone. You also can see what is happening on the phone under the events. Here is the status log, enable work. Enable work profile, as you can see on the right screen. This may take a second because there have been some data be forwarded to Google that this account can be created. If the device have been successfully enrolled, you can see it under enrollment and with the sender self-service. This was the portal I showed before, and you can generate your company PIN here at this point. If you want to change it, you can easily create a new one. So now I have a new PIN, and I always can see it when I go here at the infrastructure diagram and go to self-service enrollment. So when the Android for Enterprise Workspace on the device is created, there should be automatically enrolled this Gmail app with the email account and the Adobe Reader, and also this Miradore PNG. I see something happens on the device. It says sync failed because this is the client in the private area. There is a notification, managed profile was created, so the client in the private area will be uninstalled. Here is the request. I say OK. So uninstallation is finished, successful. And when I go here at the device and I select the apps, I can see the Miradore client from the Workspace with the Workspace icon at the top. And there is something happening. Something is downloading. I go here and I see the Adobe Reader is already downloaded to the device. This can be also seen when you go to the events. First, there was the enabling of the work profile, then the unenrollment of the private profile. Next, the file was deployed to the device. Next, the Adobe Reader. Oh, this is in progress. And on the right on the device you can see the reader is successfully installed and the Gmail account too. If I refresh here on the left, I see all events are successfully completed. So I gonna do the device and take a look at my Gmail app. And there is already my company account from Miradore.com installed. That means I have enrolled it with my private email address on my private device and have the company email address in this secure workspace. So the user just has to enter the password, so therefore I hide this device for a second. Such a long password, but security is very important for us. And I say next. There are some security updates required. I activate the device administration for the Gmail account and I'm getting messages right now. Perfect. So this is very easy. To sum it up, you can give this enrollment pin for your company to all your employees you want to provide with company emails on their private device, and they can do the enrollment by themselves. They have just to go straight forward to get their company email, they get their company contacts and their company calendar right on their private device on a special Workspace profile which is secured and no app from the private area could access this data. So this is very impressive and I guess it's very easy to set up. So I want to say thanks for your attention and Sean, the stage is yours again.
Thank you, Andreas. Now we'll come to the Q&A part of our session. And well, it seems we have one question, and that is it possible to remove the Miradore online client out of the personal space from the admin without end-user interaction?
So, Sean, yes, that's a good question. The idea behind this workspace area is that there is a separation from private and business data, and the company asks the user to uninstall the client in the private area. It's unenrolled anyway, so that the company has no access to the private area. The company can't see what kind of apps do you have installed or anything else from your private device. So the company gets no information, but for the uninstallation of this app, the user is asked for, and if he says, no, I want to keep it there, it's there, but it's without the function. So it's unenrolled anyway. I guess the answer is yes.
Okay, great. Thank you for that detailed answer. Well, it seems that there's actually no more questions, so we'll go to closing. So, thanks everyone for attending. We'll have a transcript of the Q&A session sent out to you soon, along with a video link to the recording of the webinar. So, thanks to everyone again, and don't forget to join us next time on March 9th for 2 webinars, one at 2 p.m. and another at 7 p.m. Central European Time, both based on the Android device owner modes for Android Enterprise. So thank you and have a great rest of your week.
Thanks. Bye.